This is a review of the MacBook Pro 10,2. What a shitty rhyme. So, after this very bad introduction, this is my review of the MacBook Pro I use. As you know, I really don't do reviews all that often because they're very biased and they're really not for any kind of advice in most cases. But anyway, I'm gonna do it. You guys seem to enjoy it, and I need to make videos, so I guess we can't get around that. This is, as I said, a MacBook Pro 10,2. Now, only the Apple guys know what that means. I'm gonna say it is a MacBook Pro with Retina display. 13-inch, and I think it is a 2012 model. There we go. Retina 13-inch, late 2012. Now, of course, the most obvious characteristic of a MacBook Pro Retina is, of course, well, who guessed it? The Retina display. And I have to give it that. It is a really nice display. Very, 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 very sharp. When you remember when we did the video where we installed Sierra, not High Sierra, Sierra, the previous version, we could see the error message it threw in our face very, very sharp and very clearly. So this display is definitely very nice. It's a resolution of 2560 by I think 1440, so it's pretty much my 27-inch iMac resolution crammed into a 13-inch display. That makes it, of course, very, very sharp. And it's really, there is no need to make it even sharper or more high resolution, because you can get this close, and you don't even see the pixels yet. And I mean, what do you want more? This is like an iPhone Retina display, pretty much. Very nice display. So, as all MacBook Pros, it is also beautifully designed. It's all aluminum. It has very nice build quality, even though I'm gonna get into reliability in a sec. Unless the new MacBook Pro, which is even thinner and even more advanced, you can still hook up a USB flash drive without an adapter, and some other things too. So, let's get to the ports. Oh, a thing I always forget. It's so thin! Oh god! It seems to me that most reviewers really enjoy very thin laptops, but from my experience, it really doesn't matter. It's not the thickness that matters. I think it's the weight, because I carry this around all day. It's not very heavy. It's definitely not heavy in my opinion, but it's also not as light as a MacBook Air or something like that. So if you want the ultimate portability, you should not get the shitty MacBook. You should get a MacBook Air. It's just way better in terms of price to performance ratio, even though price to performance ratio on an Apple product is always a thing. Yeah, you know the thing. So yeah, what was I about to say? Oh, the ports. Yeah, the ports, the glorious MagSafe connector that they so greatly removed from the new MacBook Pro. So if you now trip over your power cord, your very expensive MacBook Pro is going to be crushed to the floor. And since everything is soldered together, such as this, you need to replace it as a whole. 2 Thunderbolt ports, which I never use. USB 2, not 3 yet. I think the later one have USB 3, but this has USB 2. Headphone jack. OMG, this obsolete piece of shit nobody uses at all still has it. Let's go to the other side. Here we have a SD card slot. There we go. And an HDMI, which is very useful because projectors and stuff. But on the new MacBook Pro, you have to hook up an adapter as for everything pretty much. And another USB 2. So in terms of ports, it's actually not bad at all. I mean, it's lacking the optical drive, but I really never used that at all. So that's not a big trade-off. And what is also better than the newer MacBook Pros is the keyboard. And yes, you might say, oh, you're getting used to this and blah, but this butterfly piece of shit mechanism, I really cannot get used to this. And why do I say that? Well, because on a project, me and another student work together, and he has like one of these butterfly MacBooks, and I had to type there or something, and I typed like a script or something, and it just this clicking is getting on my nerves, sorta. But just the feel, because this has no travel at all, since it's so thin and so thin and so thin, they kind of forget about the travel of the keys, and that is very important. And this keyboard does it very nice. This is the old style chiclet keyboard, as they called it, and that is very nice to type on. So there are actually a lot of great points about this MacBook Pro. There are some things, oh yeah, stuff like processor, and so here we have the 2.5 gigahertz Intel Core i5 Ivy Bridge processor is totally, absolutely perfect for my needs. I don't need any faster CPU. Heck, I could even still use a Core 2 Duo and be fine with it. 8 gigs of RAM, that is very nice to have. I do run some virtual machines here and there, and that helps it from running out of RAM. DDR3, of course, who cares about that? And a little weak point about this particular one is it has only 128 gig SSD. And that brings me to my biggest complaint I have about these MacBook Pros, or now all MacBook Pros, and that is that they are completely soldered all in one, like a tablet, like your iPad and your iPhones, all in one piece, except maybe the screen and the body, but the rest, like the main board, and that is pretty much one piece. So processor, RAM, and everything is together. And so if one of these fails, of course, you're fucked. But if you want to upgrade, you're also fucked, because you're stuck with this configuration you got your Mac with until you throw it away. So that sucks. And this 128 gigs it's just not enough. I always find myself deleting and still not enough space. So I do find myself sometimes carrying a external hard drive with me, but then I laugh at these people that have like one of these fancy hybrid tablets that only have like 64 gigs of storage, and then they run Windows, which already needs like half of this stuff. So this is really not that bad in comparison, but 128 gigs just doesn't cut it. What can I do? I have it, and whatever. As you see, it runs High Sierra 10.13 very, very efficiently, very fast. This brings me to another great point about this computer. Even though it's a 2012 model, it is still very fast. This thing boots up in under 10 seconds, even though, as I said, hard drive is always full, and I have a lot of programs and stuff. And also, if I open something up, if I open up like a bigger program, I saw this editor popped up right away, and here we have Sea Lion. That's a little more hardcore. So by the way, the battery also is still very good. Doesn't have a lot of cycles on it yet. So as you see, this heavy ass program, there you go. That now opened up, I think, 4 projects, and that is really not bad. And also the animations are very smooth still, and even though it has the HD graphics 4000, it is very well optimized with OS 10. And I mean, I wouldn't game on this. You can run old GTA games, but since I'm not the biggest gamer anyway, and I have a PC that does it very fine, I'm not gonna bother with gaming on this. But I wouldn't game on this, since now we have a very big resolution display and the HD graphics. These two things, they don't go together well on a game. So I notice here and there a little lag when it comes to some we are very like demanding video footage, or when I'm in Final Cut and have open, like for example CLAN at the same time, it lags here and there, but come on, this is a 2012 laptop. It does it very nice. Has the Ivy Bridge processor is still very capable, and it is also, as I said, when it comes to battery life, still very nice. So I can't say you a concrete. That's not even concrete. No, shit. How do you say that? I can't really tell you how long it's gonna run, because it really depends on your usage. When as I said, we have C-Line, which is a very demanding program. I'm not, of course, not gonna get so much battery life when I'm just running Word or browsing the web or something. By the way, Chrome also needs a lot of battery for some reason. Firefox not so bad, but Chrome, oh boy. Of course, Wi-Fi is very good as well, and yeah, that were all the great and amazing things about the MacBook Pro with Retina display. Now let's get to some quirks of it, or some, well, not so good things about it, I guess. Now, one thing I have noticed that these MacBook Pros have is they're not very reliable. As you know, I made a couple of videos where I fixed MacBook Pro Retinas with a variety of problems, mostly freezing related problems, and that is not good. Now I think Apple has finally figured that out, since now the Retina MacBook Pro, we were in 2017 and they still offer this version, and this is a 2012, so 5 years of development. I think they got out these little issues from the beginning. It's like when you develop a car and it comes out brand new, it has some weird issues sometimes. But after when it is on the market for a couple of years, it's gonna be perfect. And the same is, I think, with the new MacBook Pro. So what do I say? Well, if you get one of these used, don't get one of these. This particular one has a problem where the fan sometimes would make weird noises, and I think the bearing from the fan is so worn out already that sometimes it just makes. Now, it doesn't get hot so easy, so it's not so bad, but when it kicks in, it sometimes makes some weird noises, and this fan replacement, I think because it's an Apple part, it's going to be costing $500 or something. Not just kidding, but it's not going to be cheap, and you have to open this thing up, and oh boy. I'm not going to replace it. I mean, as long as it works and doesn't overheat, I'm going to deal with it. But as I said, these weren't the only issues these have. A lot of them have freezing issues, and some of them are operating system related, so they are of course fixed, hopefully. But also hardware issues. And a friend of mine has I think a 2013 15-inch maxed out badass MacBook Pro, and he had to return it because it would sometimes kernel panic, and there were really weird shit. Even with a Mac OS X reinstallation didn't help. So in terms of reliability of these older models, you have to know what you're getting into. Now, for the most part, it's gonna be fine, and as I said, like the later models are probably perfect and they don't have these issues. But that could just be me having bad luck with these Retina MacBook Pros. I still like the old design better because it could do more stuff. It could upgrade RAM, it could upgrade hard drive, and even though you don't have the Retina display, you had still a very capable machine. And from the portability factor, the 13-inch is way better than the 15-inch. The 15-inch is just so big, and I wouldn't say bulky, but just so gigantic, and it needs so much space also. And I even find myself with this not having enough space on the desk. So when you're on the go, you should definitely get this. I mean, from the screen size, it's perfect since it's not so big that, again, it needs a lot of space, but still has enough screen space to do some proper stuff. Because these guys who use the tablets with Windows, they have like these small screens, and they're looking there with magnifying glasses and still don't figure out what does it say there. So I like my screens a little bigger, and I can do more stuff with it. Call me old-fashioned. I don't really miss a touch screen or something like that. I like to do everything with shortcuts and keyboard, like the old hardcore guys. Just works way better in my opinion. But anyway, if you like the touch interface more, that's fine. I mean, I see a lot of guys even writing on it, like of course Windows tablets mostly, or Android tablets, they write on them. And if it's fine for them, great, but I like my writing still on a piece of paper. Anyway, the MacBook Pro with Retina display. My verdict: a great, fast, durable laptop. I carry this around every day, and it's holding up pretty good. Anyway, it's very fast, still very expensive though, so yeah, Apple, So, what can I say? The MacBook Pro with Retina display. Normal laptop. It's great. It works. Fine. Goodbye.